bunch of losers. Joe Biden has very bad advisors. Somebody advised Joe Biden to give pardons to everybody but him. They wanted to take care of. Yeah, but Sean, they wanted to. I don't care.
Newsflash to those who voted for Trump because they wanted cheaper eggs, he does not care.
They wanted to take care of. Yeah, but Sean, they wanted to. I don't care.
They're yelling at me.
This is more important because right now the economy is going to do great.
I want to know about
I'm here, so the economy. But you have to understand, he had bad advisors on almost everything. It's like in the old days when the Secretary of State said he never made a correct decision on foreign policy. Joe Biden got very bad advice.
Shortly after Trump was elected, he started talking about how difficult it would be to lower grocery prices for Americans. Surprising. And then now with this interview, he's not even trying to pretend that he cares. The fact is, if he did care, he could have done something on that Monday when he was signing all of those executive orders. Not anywhere in there does he talk about healthcare and lowering costs for healthcare, which is a huge portion of what Americans pay for in their everyday cost of living. Or how about raising the minimum wage for Americans so that way they have a higher salary and can buy things easier? Now, he decided to use his power that day to do things like target trans children and to do things like target immigrants. If he really cared about the economy, the idea that a lot of people were having to work multiple jobs in order to have food on the table and pay for healthcare, he certainly could have signed a few executive orders helping Americans with just that. But as he said in that interview, he just doesn't care.
Next, we have a set of pardons for peaceful pro-life protesters who were prosecuted by the Biden administration for exercising their First Amendment rights.
Do you know how many?
I believe it's 23, sir.
23 people were prosecuted. They should not have been prosecuted. Many of them are elderly people. They should not have been prosecuted. This is a great honor to sign this. They'll be very happy. So they're all in prison now?
Some are out of custody.
It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable that a lot of my friends on the other side of the aisle are sitting by idly while Donald Trump proposes by executive order to destroy Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, which establishes that everybody born in the United States is a citizen of the United States. And yet they just let that go. All of these originalists and textualists who claim to care about what the Constitution stands for, that was the whole purpose and meaning of the 14th Amendment, and now they want to destroy birthright citizenship in America, moving to a citizenship based on race instead of a citizenship based on place, which was the whole purpose of the 14th Amendment, to overturn the Dred Scott decision. Well, we're obviously going to have some differences moving forward because they don't want real solutions. They just want to demagogue the immigration issue. That doesn't move America forward. It's just like they demagogued the issue of inflation. They said they were going to bring down prices in rent, in utilities, energy costs. They said they were going to bring down the price of groceries. Not a single peep from them about that on day one. No, it's just about releasing all the violent insurrectionists, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers who are out there today saying that they want revenge. That's the real program for America.
One of Trump's cruel executive orders that had nothing to do with the cost of eggs was his ending our amnesty program. I used to pro bono help people who were trying to get asylum in this country. Basically, it is a legal form of immigration because you come to this country and you seek asylum, saying that if you are sent back to your country of origin, you are in fear of being persecuted. And this person goes to court. They present evidence. They have a lawyer, often pro bono from many different organizations, and a judge ultimately decides whether or not they can remain in this country. This is not the illegal crossing of somebody into this country and not being documented that Trump and MAGA always blame for problems in our country which don't even exist or are connected to undocumented immigrants. But in this case, we're not even talking about somebody who's not documented. We're talking about somebody who's using our legal asylum system to come to our shores because they need protection. I mean, it is the whole idea of our Statue of Liberty. But no, with his executive order, he stopped this. And thousands of people around the world are stranded because they had gotten approval already to come to this country based on this asylum. And you have people at the border who had waited up to a year for their appointment and had just gotten their appointment slot before Trump closed this down. Take a look at this. This is the result of his cruelness and his executive order, of him trying to blame the greed of our corporations, the dissatisfaction that some people don't have a living wage, and he blames it on people like this. Take a look.
No permita, Señor, que no suceda más nada, Señor. Cuando ya todos pensaban que ya todo estaba logrado, se viene abajo todo, Dios mío.
Por favor, podemos terminar.
Instead of signing an executive order reining in corporate greed, he signed an order targeting the trans community, the small and vulnerable community that he and his MAGA cohorts has realized it is a winning argument to bully them. And so what does he decide to do but orders that the passport documents no longer have the box X. Right now, you can check female, male, or X if you don't have a gender identity as female or male. And what does that really hurt people? Doesn't hurt anybody if somebody else marks X, but because this is a winning argument, he decides to do away from these documents, targeting a community who already have it so hard. I mean, can you imagine not being born in the skin that you feel that you identify with? Can you imagine being a parent to a child and having to navigate this? And now you have the president deciding to bully you over how you want to identify. This is why Bishop Buddy, the next day, in her address while he was a captive audience, asked for mercy. Mercy for the trans children, the LGBT community, mercy for the immigrants, because his executive orders were so cruel and so targeted and were nothing about the price of eggs.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger. For we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world. Amen.
Another one of his executive orders that targeted immigrants is particularly cruel. It ended the task force that Biden had put in place in order to reunite the families that had been separated under Trump's first term. Trump evidently wants to make it so difficult and so scary to be an immigrant in this country that he is doing away with a task force that was meant to reunite babies and children who still have not found their parents. If we ever doubt why we continue to resist, it is for them.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.